Welcome, I'm Respect Gwenzi for Equity Access. This interview with ZB Financial Holdings CEO Ron came on the heels of the banking group's release of its interims to June 2016. The group defied odds to post a strong profit of 5.9 million after entrenching a cost-saving exercise which they say is now embedded as part of their corporate culture.
The performance comes on the back of strong recoveries from our bad debts, as well as cost savings arising from the cost management measures that we've put in during the course of the half year. The group has also improved on its liquidity position, notwithstanding the current cash crunch that we're facing. While deposits have come down, the overall liquidity ratio is still above 30% mandated by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe.
As shown by the dominant red arrows on the chart, all major revenue lines underperformed in the period. Net interest income came off 2%, while other income softened by 13%. The cost cutting resulted in a 7% decline in OPEX, while recoveries improved on a sale of NPLs to Zamco to boost income, which is however a non-recurring line. If ZB is to replicate the results, this would easily become the best performance since dollarization. We asked for management's projections on the remainder of the year, taking note of the once-off income that is non-recurring going forward, which drove income for the 6 months, and the constraints that Ron alluded to with regards to recent legislation on capping charges.
I think it's important for us to put context to the remainder of the year. You will be aware that the Reserve Bank has reduced charges on RTGS as well as point of sale and other commission lines. That means that for the half year from 1 July to 31 December, income will not perform as it did during the first half year. So I think there will be an issue arising out of that. The second point to make is that we're experiencing cash crunch. We do earn various fees on cash withdrawals, which means that we will not be able to earn that sort of income in the remaining half of the year. So having put that context in, it looks like revenue performance will not come up to our expectations. Either it will remain flat at best, or it will reduce. So I think our performance in the second half will probably be less than what we turned in during the first half of the year. I must also just add that there are a number of bad debts that we hope to recover in the remaining half of the year. If those materialize, then our performance will probably be at the same level as the first half of the year.
Key revenue lines shrank in the first half. For example, commission and fees income eased, whilst net underwriting income came off. The same goes for interest income. Ron gave us his view and strategy to keep the operations focused given the environment limitations.
What we've done as a group is to look at the foreseeable future and say to ourselves, where do we think growth will come from? We are in discussing with various local authorities at the moment to mobilize something in the region of 10,000 units of housing, which will allow us to be able to service the land and then sell the land either as vacant pieces of land or develop superstructures, which we can then sell on a mortgage basis. That way we are likely to earn certain fees that are attendant to a mortgage product as well as mortgage interest income. In addition to that, we are looking at various infrastructure issues. I think there are opportunities in water infrastructure, there are opportunities in power infrastructure, and we are pursuing those opportunities with a number of interested international organizations.
In the results, recoveries were a topical issue due to the impact they had on the total income of the group. Obviously, the sale of bad debts is not a sustainable way of growing income in banking. Ron took us through the measures introduced to clean the loan book as well as to ensure minimal NPLs going forward.
I think what one would need to do in that particular environment is to look at scale. You then need to lend more money at lower interest rates for you to be able to maintain your profitability. But what we're saying at the moment is, I don't think we want to lend for the sake of lending. We would like to make sure that we lend to people who've got the capacity to repay, so that you avoid another cycle of non-performing loans.
I commended Ron on the robust cost management that will live to be his legacy. This has been a wise strategy given the tight operating environment and the dip in income. We wanted to know if this was sustainable and what specific measures were in place to maintain the same performance.
They've worked on our NPLs diligently. The first strategy we adopted obviously was to sell those NPLs that Zamco was prepared to buy off from us. And as our numbers have indicated, since Zamco was instituted, we have sold 18.4 million worth of loans to them. We've also been on an aggressive recovery strategy. We've been foreclosing in cases where there was need for us to foreclose, resulting in some recoveries as a result of that. We've also constituted a special purpose vehicle where we've hived off our non-performing loans into this particular special purpose vehicle. While we've written off the loans from the bank book, we are chasing them under this special purpose vehicle. So I think we will adopt those three strategies for the immediate future. But going forward, I think what is more important is that our risk management systems are improved, and I think we've already done that. We have put in a new system of risk management, which allows us to be able to predict the probability of default on each loan as we lend to a particular individual.
I asked Ron on the exciting business lines he had mentioned they are exploring, which includes the micro-lending space as well as renewable energy space. Ron elaborated on these ventures.
Our views are that microfinance is a sector that has seen significant growth over the last few years. We've been undertaking some microfinance operations under the ZB Bank banner, but what we found out was that the skills to lend to microfinance are not resident in the bank at the moment. Our systems are not keyed up to process very small amounts, hence the decision to look at microfinance as a separate business unit. I think the strategy, in my view, in this environment is workable. We are now at a stage where we are discussing the possibility of moving this strategy forward. As you may be aware, there is a need for us to register with authorities, and then it depends on whether what we're looking at is a deposit taking or a non-deposit taking microfinance institution.
Treasury bills are a topical issue in Zimbabwe's financial landscape at the moment. Likewise, ZB has been increasing its exposure in this asset class. Ron had this to say.
I think our strategies at the moment are that sovereign paper is a better investment option for the simple reason that one, income is good coming out of treasury bills, but also there is less risk of capital loss arising from failure to honor treasury bills. So we think that allows us to invest in treasury bills with the view that capital preservation is not going to be an issue going forward. We were one of the few institutions that were market maker for this particular product. We are of the view that we should continue investing in treasury bills. As I indicated, government has not defaulted so far, and our attitude is, let's support government where we can, and we monitor the risk as we go forward. If there is anything that informs us about any risks that arise as a result of that, we'll certainly take appropriate decisions. But at this point in time, we've not seen any problem at all in that strategy, which is why we're continuing with that strategy going forward. Our risk assessment for the group indicates that we can sustain a parcel of 120 million worth of treasury bills on our balance sheet. We are roughly at about that number, so we'll just sit and see how those treasury bills in our portfolio perform for the foreseeable future.
We concluded with a look at the bond notes, which are 2 months away from introduction, and Ron held the view that this was likely to be a good thing for the sector, a position subscribed to by the Bankers Association of Zimbabwe.
Well, look, I think we're a member of the Bankers Association, and the Bankers Association released a statement a while ago, which is supportive of government efforts. So as part of the Bankers Association, we associate ourselves with the views of the industry. That is one way of dealing with the current cash shortages. So we would encourage the general public to support the measures that the government is putting in place.
This has been a special focus on ZB Financial Holdings for equity access and respect.